Hey guys, welcome to the vlog. This week we're going to do something special. We'll dive into the project files of my recent release, One World, and we'll see how I have produced the song from scratch. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. Okay guys, so as you can see on the screen, I have created a number of projects for the song. Well, that's because I work on a 2012 MacBook Pro and it doesn't have an SSD and it runs on an 8 GB RAM. So I do not want to overburden this MacBook Pro. I know it has the capability to handle that, but still it is not the latest version of MacBook Pro, so I really don't want to burden this, and that's how I have developed the skill to work on the same song with a number of projects in it. So yes, I guess what I have to do is I'll open up each project file and I'll show you guys what I've done and probably give some tips and tricks as well. Okay guys, so it's loading. I'm sure it's gonna take some time. So by the time it loads, I think I'm gonna give you a background of what I usually do with a number of projects and how that plan works out. So I create a basic project file wherein I record all my ideas from my keyboard and record all the MIDI data. That's gonna usually have all the stock instruments in that. So once I freeze down the arrangement of the track, the composition and everything, I replace the instruments with high-end instruments if I have. Otherwise, I'll see what best I can do by editing the same, and I render them and bounce them off into solo wave files. I then either send them to my performers, my collaborators, and once I receive the music recordings from them, the live music recordings. For example, in this song I have got bass guitar, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, everything live, even the drums live. But before I got them live, I had to send them a basic idea of what I'm looking at. So those things I'll usually either play it on my Machina Micro or perform it on my keyboard, record the MIDI data and send the entire bounced track to them so that they get an idea and they perform over that and send me the separate recorded file in WAV format. So once all these stuffs are done, I usually create another project for vocal recording. This is for the lead vocals, and then even once lead vocals are done, I create another project file for harmonies, background vocals, chorus vocals and all those stuff. So once all these vocals have been recorded and I have received all the final music recordings, then I import them all into a separate new project file, which is usually I would like to call it as a static mix. So that is where I do all the balancing, I do all the basic mix and everything, and once that is done, I'm going to import it onto a different project file. And sometimes in the mixing stage I may end up creating a couple of project files that is more like a backup, just to create a different sound and to finalize which sound do I like the most. So this is how I do. Anyways, I've spoken a lot. Let's now dive into the project file. I've opened it up, it's loaded, and see what's in that. So these were the dummy vocals that I recorded as and when I composed the song. So as you can see here, I have soloed these two tracks because these two are the most significant tracks in this project file. Let me just play it out and show it to you guys. So this is the intro. I've done that. So as you can see here, I have recorded multiple instances of piano. So one is on the higher octaves, and then I created another track. This is again chord arpeggios. I even added this on top of that. On below that. So both are different, basically they are different recordings and I've merged them together. Here I haven't panned, but in the actual track I have actually panned them to 45 degrees left and right. And then when we come back to the first original track, that's about it. So this is how I worked, and as you can see here, I have even recorded a fingerstyle bass. This was more like a reference track, and we have got the actual bass being performed by Al now. So this is how it started to work on. So yes, as you can see, I have added a couple of bass amplifiers, compressors, pedal board, echo and all those stuffs. These are not the final effects. These are just to keep me going, to push me more creatively, because these effects help the instruments to sound full, and that helps me to actually understand how the song is going forward. I mean, that's my personal way of dealing with it, and I love it. And then I added a simple drum which I can get on Logic Pro. So all these instruments are Logic Pro stock instruments, as you can see. And then this drums, I recorded them on my Machina Micro. Very simple. Very simple. But again, this is not the drum that we retained. We got a live drummer, David, to perform for us. And then as part of the initial draft, I performed a couple of string instruments which are here. So I love adding these string instruments in the background. I mean, I feel that's my personal touch that I give to any song that I produce. These full strings and orchestral instruments, they tend to add a little more dynamics in the song. So they make the song sound full, rich, and once we start panning them out, it sounds more like a wide picture. And I love that. So moving forward, so see, this is what I'm talking about. They add a kind of an emotional, warm feeling into the song, and that definitely drives the emotion forward, and I love them. So in this portion of the song, I actually wanted the piano to sound more disconnected and continuous banging on the chords, tin, 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 tin. Because for me, this portion of the song where we hear one world united, ignited, one world together forever, when we hear those words, I actually wanted the song to be at its highest peak, to be at its best possible quality. And this is what I did on the piano chords. You can see them here. Pretty simple. Oh, I've missed these two notes. Live recording. So as you can listen, this piano is on the higher octaves, so I wanted something on the lower octave as well, and this is what it is. Can you hear it? So together it's like this, and with all the bass, strings, this is how the song kind of turned out. And interesting fact, at this point of time, the vocal melody was not ready. All I knew was I need to include one world united, ignited. But where, how, I never knew that. And that's when I created a special section for that itself, and then created all the vocal melodies before that. And meanwhile, I was actually getting in touch with a friend of mine, Shannon Bannister. So we had actually collaborated in my earlier song, Faith, Hope and Love. So one day I texted her and asked if she had any lyrics or would she be interested to write some English lyrics. Surprisingly, she had just written something. Just a few days back, she had completed some lines, and she immediately sent it over to me to see if that would excite me. And guess what? A couple of those lines excited me. They were on spot. And I had a couple of lines over here on the other end. So I thought, let me just merge them. Surprisingly, that worked out well. Those lyrics gave in high impact So you might actually be wondering by now that how I'm maintaining the same MIDI tracks while I'm actually working on new project files. So what I usually do is I save the same project file in a different name, delete everything else, delete any other instrument that I don't want, so that I can save some resources and just maintain the MIDI track files and then work on that. It's as simple as that. So once the basic, the dummy track was ready, I immediately shared it with a couple of musician friends of mine to see who would actually be interested in collaborating with me in producing the song. And in fact, Jay Sanders was one of the early collaborators who actually showed interest, and he sent a mail to me stating that he would love to record some acoustic guitar, electric guitars and progressive guitars as well for the song. So, and that's how we actually took the song to the next level by including audio recordings of actual instruments, the live instruments, and not just MIDI data. So as you can see here, this is the acoustic guitar that Jay Sanders actually recorded. This that was recorded by him, and this electric guitar, chords that you listen in the pre-chorus sections, and some fills here and there, they were all recorded by Jay Sanders again. So yes. So as you can see, basically this is another project. This is not the same project as that. This is the second project file that I created just for the sake of taking that to the next level, because the number of instruments were adding up and it was actually eating up my MacBook's space, resources and all the stuffs. And I created a new project file. I dumped a couple of ideas, a couple of instruments which I was not using to the actual song, and in this new project file I included a couple of more which I actually wanted to use. And these live recordings, I kind of imported them to see how the song actually turns out. So this is how the electric guitar sounds like. Wonderful, right? This is not panned in the actual production. In the final production we have actually panned it hard left and hard right, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, hard left and hard right, but it's not panned over here. But that's the basic essence, and that's the reason I actually asked him to record it twice and send it to me, so that I can pan it hard left and hard right. So, and at the fag end, when the lines one world, united, ignited, when they come in, I actually wanted electric piano to be included in the song as well, and I recorded that. I used, as you can see, I used Contact 5 vintage organs. It's a mind-blowing electric piano library. It has all the wonderful features. I've also done some automation in the MIDI data over here for the string section. If you can see, this is not the final automation, but I wanted to do this automation just to see how good it sounds, or whether it would sound good enough. Unfortunately guys, I do not have any Contact library which sounds really good for strings, but I do have the EXS24 on my Logic Pro, and it's a pretty good stock instrument. I love it with all the proper settings and proper effects. The sound would be really good actually. So I used that for all the basses, cellos, violins, violas and all those stuffs. So if you can see here, the majority of the automation is done on the volume knobs, but apart from that I even used automation on note velocity. If you can see here, the automation is there, and also I have used automation on expression of the MIDI data. So I mean, to just make the string instrument sound as real as possible. It just hits you at an emotional level when you have strings on your track. I feel so. What do you guys think? Once I got those stuffs ready, I did a rough recording of my vocal track. Here it is. Pandemic is real. You don't know me. This is the rough track, guys. This is not the final recording. This is what I did. And then I went on to record some final vocals, the lead vocals, and then harmonies. Okay, guys, I think we'll wrap it for this week. We still have a lot to cover, and we'll do that in the next week's vlog. I will have to show you how I recorded my lead vocals, my harmonies, and how many takes I did to record all those vocals. And I will also have to show you how I mixed the song, which is, of course, my first hands-on experience at mixing. So next week's gonna be a very interesting one. Until then, please take care of yourself, take care of your family. Stay tuned. Do hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you'll get notified about each single upload on this channel. Okay guys, so stay musical. Peace.